So, something came out today regarding Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios. This comes from Deadline, so obviously reputable, and they talk about something that I don't think Marvel has done for a movie in the MCU yet. I could be completely wrong on this, but let's go through the article. Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios team on MCU movie comic with Fantastic Four First Steps. Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios are teaming on a Fantastic Four First Steps comic, which is launching on July 2nd. I believe they come out. When does Fantastic Four come out? July 25th, is it? Here's why this is such a big deal. It's the first time that the comics side and the studio side have worked together on a comic set in the world of a specific MCU movie. So this is interesting. I mean, literally got my question answered as soon as the article started. This reminds me of something they do kind of with, they did it with the Batman, where they did that precursor of, I believe, the Riddler, and they came out with a comic issue involving this. I really like this. You know, if you're a comic reader, kind of getting the background to these characters, maybe you don't have to obviously read the comic to understand these characters in the movie, but it is cool for people who want to dive deeper into this. I did see the headlines over on Twitter, which will lead me into my next point that will kind of explain why they're doing this. So Matt Fraction, Hawkeye, Fantastic Four, wrote the Fantastic Four First Steps comic with drawings by Mark Buckingberg, Fantastic Four Fables, and cover art by Phil Noto. It's a one-shot comic book that's published by Future Foundation. Now, here is where it gets a little... The one-shot comic book is designed to be an artifact from the world of the upcoming movie and confirms a few things that fans have speculated about, including the Fantastic Four First Steps is not an origin story, but will pick up 4 years after they become heroes. Marvel Comics worked closely with filmmakers on the comics, pulling in the tone and feel of the Pix feel from the production designer and other talent from the comic, even visited the set of the film. The first in the world book from Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios is one facet of how the Fantastic Four First Steps is showing up in other parts of Disney, including Parks, which announced on SXSW that the Fantastic Four will appear as characters in Tomorrowland at Disneyland. These superheroes are hugely significant to Marvel. The publication of the Fantastic Four in 1961 kicked off the Marvel era in comics, and Marvel's first family introduced what would later become hallmarks of Marvel storytelling, relatable characters with real human drama. Marvel Comics editor said, Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, and their stories have always been the center of Marvel Universe. With the Fantastic Four First Steps coming later this summer, we at Marvel felt that this was a perfect opportunity to bring our teams together in honor of their legacy in both the world of the film and without our comics. It's been a blast to have our teams in publishing and studios bounce ideas back and forth to create something truly special and one of a kind, and we can't wait for fans to be able to dive into this comic squarely in the world of the MCU and experience the Fantastic Four like we'd never seen it before. He added, the heart of Marvel has always stemmed from the comics, and Kevin and the team have been bringing those pages to life in extraordinary ways with each and every film. With this comic, we're bringing those two worlds together in a way we think fans will love. So this is how it looks. You know, this is literally the cover of the issue. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach. Literally, these are not just like iterations or versions. This is literally, that's Pedro Pascal right there. Like, it looks like Pedro Pascal, looks like Vanessa Kirby. You know, the thing. It's these characters. I really like this. I think this is really interesting that they would do something like this. But it does beg the point. This will be obviously a precursor to it, a prequel. So I wonder if this will showcase how they got their powers, because as they've stated in this article, this is not an origin story, but will pick up 4 years after they become heroes. So we've speculated for a while now, you know, will this be an origin story? Because there are certain shots in the trailer where it shows and it makes it seem like they're getting their powers in the movie. So maybe this will be flashbacks in certain ways, or maybe they'll literally just pick up from this comic book, but they have to do it in a certain way where casual fans can just watch this movie without having to look up videos about it or read the comic issue or read articles about it. They'll do something in that way to do it. I absolutely love this, that they're doing that, but it's interesting that this will not be an origin story. I thought this whole time, literally up until this day, there would be some type of origin story to it, and I didn't think too much of it, of course. You know, I don't really think, but I didn't think too much of it because I figured it would be something quick, and then, you know, they would just kind of get into the Silver Surfer coming in and then Galactus taking over and everything, or maybe there'll be some type of time jump. You know, I didn't think too much of it, but that confirms something. It's not an origin story, which is interesting. Because I believe in both other iterations, the 2005 and then the other one, they were origin stories. So, it could be something as, kind of like DC doing no origin story for Superman, no origin story for the Batman, and probably Batman in the DCU, depending on, whatever that is. But this is interesting stuff. I don't know how you guys feel about this. Are you okay with them literally doing a comic book to kind of get you ready for these characters rather than doing the origin story in the movie? That's it's a fair approach. Also, for the fact that this is the first time they're doing something like this, where the Marvel Studios team and the Marvel Comics team kind of team up to make this coherent, make this a precursor and everything. I kind of like this, but let me know what you think of this down below.